How can the country trust anything your economic team says now? Any attack on Labor's costings after Scott Morrison's at least $20 billion mathematical error yesterday?
Well, I don't accept the premise of your question. I'm sorry.
But hang on. This is important. He started off the day saying $67 billion out, and then walked back to about $30 billion. Isn't that an error adding up?
Well, the onus is really on the Labor Party. We have set out a budget which includes all of our revenue and expenditure, of course, over the next 4 years. So we've demonstrated that everything is paid for. $20 million we're talking about here today is all paid for. So we've shown where we're going to spend money and where we're going to raise it from. Now, what the Labor Party is doing is every day, Bill Shorten is turning the spendometer, as he calls it, every day. He thinks it's very funny. I don't think taxpayers think it's very funny, and he's spending more money every day. Now, what he hasn't done is told us where it will come from. Now, what Scott has done is set out a schedule showing the budget items of ours that Labor has blocked, the promises that they have made, and the various measures of ours that they have said they oppose. Now, if, as I said to you yesterday at Anglesey, if the Labor Party believes that some of those items are not correct, or they've changed their mind, as they plainly, or they appear to have done about international aid, then they should say so. But what they must do is treat the Australian people with respect. After all, it is our taxes. It's Australians' taxes. And what Labor should do is, between whirring the spendometer round and round...
And that's where we farewell viewers on ABC in WA. If you want to continue watching this, you can do so on ABC News 24.
Where he's going to raise the money from, because whichever way you look at it, there is a black hole. Now, he can solve the mystery. It's entirely in his hands. He should spell it out.
You said, Prime Minister, Labor's changed its mind on foreign aid. They made an announcement last weekend, before you pulled out that piece of paper yesterday, that they were not going to go ahead with that full restoration, and that was still in the figures yesterday.
Well, can I just say to you, if what Tanya Plibersek is saying, that Labor is now backing at least 90% of our reductions in foreign aid, that she should say that. I think you'll find that Labor's been saying some contradictory things there, but look, it's very easy for them to solve the mystery. All they need to do is to set it out. Our budget is there. You know, our budget came down. It's been validated and checked by the Department of Finance and the Department of the Treasury. So we all know what the financial facts are. Now, what Labor should do, and I did this myself when I was opposition leader years ago, you've got to just sit down as the opposition and say, righto, that's what the government's raising and that's what it's spending. This is where we differ from them and this is the result. Now, they can solve all of that and demonstrate how big their black hole is, and if they say there's no black hole, they can demonstrate with how many new taxes or new borrowings they're going to fill it with.
How big? So how much is the budget black hole worth? Is it 67 billion or is it 32 billion?
Well, can I just say to you, that's a question you should be addressing to the Labor Party, and the Labor Party they have to make a choice. Look, elections are about choices, right? And there's a big choice on the 2nd of July for all Australians between my government and Mr Shorten's opposition. That's one choice. But there's also a choice that political leaders have to make, responsible political leaders have to make. They have to make choices between competing priorities, and they have to decide how much they're going to spend, how much they're going to tax, how much they're going to borrow. Now, what Mr Shorten has is a mass of promises for which he has no funding. And he is in a position, only he and Mr Bowen can set out what it is it's actually going to cost.
But you said 67. Do you stand by that?
Well, 67 billion is the list of the measures that they have either blocked or proposed or said that they want us to roll back. Now, if they are changing their position and they have new promises or they want to abandon old promises, they're entitled to do that. But they should spell it out. They have no excuse. There's a debate between Mr Bowen and Scott Morrison on Friday. I think Mr Bowen owes it to everybody to spell out exactly what his alternative budget looks like. That's what he should do. As the alternative...
How do you spell out how much your company tax cut is going to raise?
Well, as you know, that has been set out. And well, of course I have. It's $48 billion over over 10 years. But of course, that doesn't take into account the enormous growth that you get in terms of GDP. You've seen the Treasury. Look, a business tax cut, a company tax cut drives growth and jobs. That is clear. That is a very uncontroversial statement. It's supported by the Treasury, it's supported by independent work by the Treasury, and it is supported by the Shadow Treasurer, Mr. Bowen. He went to the trouble of writing a book in which he said that one of the best things the federal government could do is cut company tax in order to drive investment and jobs. Now, he's often wrong, Mr. Bowen, but he wasn't wrong then. And what he said was, if I may say so, a penetrating glimpse of the obvious. If you want to have more investment, you need to lower the tax on investment and you'll get more investment. If you want to have less investment, you increase the tax on investment. Labor is increasing the tax on investment, and that will simply result in less investment and fewer jobs. You see, what Mr. Shorten has is a long list of complaints and a long list of promises, but what he doesn't have is a plan that will support growth and jobs, and we do. And we have set that out, and every single element in our plan, that export trade deals, our support for innovation, our support for advanced manufacturing, where we were yesterday, right across the board, everything we're doing is supporting investment, it's supporting jobs, it's supporting economic growth, and the people of this community will benefit as they will right around the country. Labor's alternative, stopping investment, slowing job growth, holding back the economy. They have a list of complaints. They have a spendometer. They do not have a plan for Australia's future. We do. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was live from the Pumping Billy train line. As you can see, they're steaming away in the background in the Dandenongs in Melbourne. The Prime Minister announcing money to support the tourist attraction there and standing by the Coalition's assessment of the financial position of the Labor promises. About this time yesterday, we had that major media conference with the Treasurer, Scott Morrison, and the Finance Minister, Matthias Cormann, outlining those figures you heard referred to in that media conference there.